Broadcasting from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Informatica in the Solution Spotlight, an inside look at enterprise technologies.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Solution Spotlight featuring Informatica, and focused on how to build AI-powered data pipelines and put them into action. The AI revolution is upon us, and every organization of a certain size now needs to bring together data from various sources to ensure your generative AI initiatives are fueled by quality data. In an increasingly complex data landscape, that can be a heavy load to handle, especially if you're also dealing with skills shortages or a lack of enterprise-wide capabilities. So today, we will walk through how to prepare quality data and deliver it so it's timely and relevant for generative AI, how to leverage AI-powered prompt-based pipeline generation for accelerated development, and how to cleanse and operationalize large language models. This is the first time we've had Informatica in our spotlight, and joining us to walk you through today's presentation is Siddharth Mishra, Senior Principal Product Manager, and Abhilash Mula, Senior Manager of Product Management. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Doug. Excited to be here.
I'm glad you're here because I probably undersold the intro a little bit because ultimately what we're here to do is take a sneak peek at the Informatica Claire GPT release that is forthcoming, and we're pretty excited about it. So I want to let you guys get right after it. Abhilash, I know you're going to walk through a few slides to start with. And then you're going to hand it over to Sid to actually spool out a demo of the Claire GPT. And then I'll jump back in at the end with some questions. Abhilash, I'm going to hand it over to you now. I'm going to let you begin the show, and I'll catch up with you guys in a half hour, 45 minutes.
Sounds good. Thanks for the great intro, Doug. All right, so let's begin. Like Doug said, we're going to talk about how to build generative AI powered data pipelines and put them into action. Before we begin, just a safe harbor statement. Any forward-looking statements as part of the presentation in terms of roadmap and timelines are subject to change. I'm part of the product management here at Informatica. I'm part of the data integration product management team. I focus mainly on serverless technologies and also work on the roadmap and strategy on some of the generative AI initiatives. And joining me today is Sid Mishra, part of the data integration team as well. So today we'll talk about how generative AI what are the market trends in generative AI, what are some of the challenges and things that are happening in the market, just to kind of give you like a outside-in perspective, and then we'll also talk about how Informatica, what is Informatica's answer to this changing trends in generative AI, and then followed by that we'll talk about what are the data integration capabilities that Informatica is building to power your generative AI applications, and Sid will talk about how Informatica is using generative AI, using Claire to kind of speed up your generative AI initiatives. What are the things that we are doing to improve the developer productivity? And we are leveraging generative AI for some of those capabilities. And Sid will walk through those capabilities, followed by some customer success stories and a demo. So to begin with, let's start with kind of give you what is the current state of generative AI in the market, right? So if you look at the generative AI adoption, 55% of the generative AI projects today are in pilot or in production as of September 2023, right? What that means is this indicates a significant shift towards the operationalization of generative AI technologies in various organizations. And this is reflecting the growing confidence and the investments that's happening around generative AI capabilities. There's another interesting number where 80% of the enterprises are expected to have used generative AI APIs or models, and they are enabling some of their applications to generative AI. And what this means is this rapid adoption suggests that generative AI will become the foundational technology in many enterprise environments, which is driving innovation and operational efficiencies. There's another third-party report which shows 89% of the executives today rank AI and generative AI as one of their top three technology priorities for 2024. And this high prioritization underscores the strategic importance that leaders are placing in AI technologies for future growth and also to have a competitive advantage. And there's also another prediction that by 2028, most of the 50% of the enterprises that have built large AI models today from scratch are going to abandon because of, due to cost and complexity, and there's also a large technical debt. Now, what this means is customers, instead of building everything from scratch, they are going to leverage scalable solutions or use certain tool sets to effectively operationalize some of these generative AI projects. And also, another angle to look at it is this tech is rapidly evolving. Since December 2023, there have been over 17,000 startups just focusing on generative AI. And what this means is this explosion of innovation highlights the dynamic and rapidly evolving landscape of generative AI. And this is offering a number of opportunities for collaboration, investments, and also to advance on the technology side of things as well. So again, this is just to give an outside in perspective of what is happening in the current state of generative AI. Now, let's take a look at it. I mean, we've been talking about generative AI for a while now, and let's talk about why companies are lagging behind in deriving value from generative AI projects, right? And there are several challenges that is causing companies to lag behind in getting value out of their generative AI projects. And some of the factors include there is lack of skill talent. Generative AI projects. It's the technology is rapidly evolving, and it requires certain specialized skills for developing generative AI models, right? And companies often struggle to find and retain talent with expertise in machine learning, data science, and AI engineering. And there are high costs and resource requirements involved. Building and maintaining generative AI systems can be very expensive, and the cost associated with computational resources, data storage, and ongoing maintenance can deter companies from fully committing to these technologies. And there's always these technologies and these projects are complex, and it can add to a technical debt as well, right? So the complexity of integrating generative AI into existing systems and workflows can create significant technical debt, and many companies find it very challenging to manage the integration and ensure compatibility with the legacy systems. And most important thing, data quality and availability. Generative AI requires vast amount of high quality data to train the models effectively, and many companies struggle with data silos. There's data inconsistencies, and there's data volumes are always insufficient, which kind of hinder the development of this building this robust AI models. And there are other factors like ethical and regulatory concerns. There's always resistance to change, the security and risk management, and scalability issues. And more importantly, one of the reasons why companies lag in getting value is there is unclear ROI and business case. Many companies find it difficult to quantify the return of investment for generative AI projects. The lack of clear measurable outcomes can make it very challenging for companies to justify investment or justify the investment to the stakeholders, and that's one of the reasons why companies are lagging behind in getting value. So by addressing these challenges, companies can better position themselves to leverage the full potential of generative AI and derive meaningful value from their AI investments. Now, let's get to some industry specific generative AI use cases. And like I talked on the previous slide, um, uh, the generative AI is transforming various industries by addressing unique challenges and opportunities. And here are some of the prominent sectors where generative AI has shown substantial potential and is already making significant impacts. And I've listed only 4 sectors, but these are the most prominent ones that we see where generative AI is making a huge impact. But it's everywhere. There are many more sectors than what I'm showing on this slide that where generative AI is making impact. Now, let's take healthcare for an example, right? There are personalized treatment plans right now by utilizing patient data and using generative AI technologies. We are able to now generate customized treatment recommendations in the healthcare sector. Medical imaging analysis, enhancing the interpretation of medical images with AI generated insights is one of the most common generative AI use cases that we are seeing. And there are chatbots everywhere, like virtual health assistants, where AI-driven chatbots are providing preliminary diagnosis and giving health advice. And similarly, in the banking and finance sector, there's automated financial reporting, where generative AI is used for generating detailed financial reports and getting insights from raw data. Fraud detection is another most common use case where AI is used to identify and prevent fraudulent transaction by analyzing certain patterns. And again, chatbots, there are customer service chatbots inside the banking and finance industry as well, where 24 by 7 support is provided. And basically they are personalized financial advices given through this conversational AI. Retail is another sector where a lot of automation is happening around giving you the accurate product descriptions and automating and creation of these product descriptions so companies can engage with the end customer in a more efficient way. And there are personalized recommendations as well. Generating personalized recommendations based on previous customer behavior and marketing content is another common generative AI use cases that we see in the retail use case. And more importantly, inventory management, predicting the demand and optimizing the stock levels is another, using AI generated insights is another common use case in the retail industry. And similar patterns, like I said, these are just the four prominent industries where we are seeing a lot of where generative AI, these industries are using generative AI, but we are seeing similar patterns across media and entertainment, education and manufacturing as well. So generative AI is already making a huge impact in many industries. Now, what do you need to implement generative AI applications? So, and we talked about some of the use cases in the previous slide, and in order to address some of these complex use cases across various industries, you need a modern cloud native AI powered cloud integration solution. And this solution should be very simple to use with the interface with natural language support, where any user can effortlessly create data pipelines that can power your generative AI models. Not only just creation of data pipelines, but orchestrating the end-to-end flow, providing connectors to any data source, providing parsing unstructured data. So these are some of the capabilities that you need, where you can talk to your data using natural language, right? So these are some of the capabilities that you need. And the platform should support many patterns. It should be a single unified platform that can support data integration, application integration, API management, and data replication. And not only providing these capabilities, but there should be a way to provide some elasticity. As we are processing more and more volumes to train these generative AI models, there has to be a way to match the infrastructure to your data processing needs. So a highly scalable and efficient solution, future-proof architecture is needed. The platform should support these solutions, right? And not only just providing the scalability and elasticity, but it should have built-in monitoring where it can do more predictive analysis. It should have FinOps based controls where, like I said, the infrastructure should match to your data processing needs. Like you cannot indefinitely scale your infrastructure, right? So some of this FinOps based control should be in place inside this platform so you can efficiently build these generative AI use cases while ensuring you have the optimal resource consumption and ensure there is cost efficiency, right? So these are some of the capabilities that you need in order to address some of the use cases that we discussed in the previous slide. And Informatica's cloud data integration solution is an easy and efficient way which enables users to be highly productive. And we support all the patterns that we discussed in the previous slide, whether it's data replication, data integration, app integration, and cloud modernization. We support all these patterns which can power your generative AI initiatives. And within data integration or app integration, we support even more patterns, whether you're doing ETL, ELT, reverse ETL, data engineering, API integration. So talk about any pattern. Informatica supports all of these capabilities, all powered using CLAIRE and the broader connectivity that the platform offers. Now, with that, now we have talked about the market trends. We talked about some of the use cases in various industries. We talked broadly on a high level what Informatica platform provides. Now, let's kind of dive deeper into what are some of the data science capabilities, how Informatica data integration platform can help you to to power your generative AI projects. Now, there's a lot on this slide to talk about, but let me summarize this. This is kind of a slide showing what are some of the data management capabilities that are needed for your AI project. So, addressing data challenges is very important to drive scalable and responsible adoption of generative AI. Right? A recent survey by a third-party company on responsible AI indicates that improving responsible AI awareness and measures requires changes to operations and cultures. And these changes can take an average of 3 years to implement. So companies need to get started on this journey to prepare for successful adoption of generative AI. And that's why a unified approach to data management that provides all the required capabilities to address the challenges would set them on a path to success. Now, what are those key capabilities that are required so that customers can lay a path to success, right? So one of the key capability is data cataloging, and data cataloging is a way to enable easy discovery, classification, and understanding of the data. And more importantly, you need a way to provide data lineage for AI pipeline transparency. Data integration and application integration is also one of the key capability, where you need to integrate data from diverse sources so you can build your agile AI data pipelines. API management to govern APIs to provide access to data and applications to enrich AI algorithms with just in-time information is another key capability. API management is one of the key capability. And more importantly, data quality, right? So data quality and observability to understand the quality and health of the data at every stage across the data pipeline, and identifying and fixing issues proactively is one of the key capability that you need. If you do not have data quality, your AI or ML models can be more biased and they can hallucinate and they cannot give you like proper predictions. So one of the key capabilities that you need inside the platform is data quality, right? And similarly, there are other capabilities that you need around data management, like master data management, data privacy, and data sharing capabilities, right? So what this slide is showing is some of the key data management capabilities that you require in a platform where for your generative AI projects, which can lay a path for your success as you are implementing generative AI projects. Now let's dive deeper into some of the new services that we launched within IDMC that can help you with generative AI projects. One of the things that we launched last year is InformaticaCorp. So InformaticaCorp is a way where which helps data scientists to prepare the data sets more efficiently to train your AI ML models. Like I said, data quality is one of the most important thing to train your AI models. Quality data is very important, right? Now, what InformaticaCorp does is Informatica has built this robust data integration and data quality functionality over many years, right? And data scientists, as we see, they are more familiar with using Jupyter notebooks or PyCharm, or they use their own favorite IDE. And what we did with InformaticaCorp is we have exposed all of the data management functionality that Informatica provides through SDKs. We have Python SDKs, for example, right? And what the data scientists can do is they can use Informatica IDMC capability inside their favorite IDE like Jupyter Notebooks or PyCharm, and use all of the out-of-the-box capabilities, whether it's DQ transforms, address validation, address doctor, even unstructured data parsing. If you want to parse PDF files or semi-structured data like JSON documents, we have out-of-the-box. Using a one line of code, you can parse any of this structure. So InformaticaCorp is a way where we are taking the platform to the hand of the developer without them coming to learn Informatica toolset, right? And you can mix and match the technology. Like if you are familiar with Python, you can use the out-of-the-box connectors using Python, use our address doctor, for example, use data quality functionality, and then mix and match with open source technologies like Pandas or TensorFlow, or you can mix and match those technologies. And that's the flexibility that InformaticaCorp gives for the data scientists and ML engineers. Model Service, another service that we launched last year, where we are helping ML engineers or data scientists to operationalize your ML models, whether it's ML models or LLMs. You can bring any of those models and operationalize inside our IDMC platform, and we expose that model as a REST endpoint, which can be consumed in any downstream application, right? So again, machine learning models can be built using any framework, TensorFlow, Spark ML, it doesn't matter. You can bring those models and operationalize, just upload the models, and all of these models are optimized on a serverless infrastructure, and we expose the model as a REST endpoint that can be consumed in any downstream application. So model service is one of the key feature where you can operationalize your ML models, that can power your generative AI applications. Now, one of the key thing that we are building on the roadmap is how to power. We are going to support RAG architectures, right? If you look at the RAG architecture, there's a data ingestion side, where you are chunking the data, generating embeddings and loading the data into a vector database. And then once the data is inside the vector database, and you have the retrieval side of things, where there's a chatbot which is kind of looking up on the vector database, passing the data through LLM and giving more relevant data, right? And we know today a lot of data in enterprises still sits in unstructured format. Like there's one stat that I read, 80% of enterprise data still sits in some in unstructured format, whether it's PDFs or Word documents or any of those document types, right? So we are building more. Like Informatica already has the capability to parse these unstructured data formats, but we are building more unstructured parsers and adding new transformations where you can efficiently chunk this data from large PDFs, make it more context aware, and then pass those chunk data into embedding model, whether it's OpenAI or AWS Bedrock or Cohere, any of those models that some of these platforms support. And you can generate embeddings and load the data into vector databases. And once the data is loaded into vector database, you can use it on the retrieval side as well, using chatbots and things like that. So this is some of the this is a new feature that we are building. We are building specialized connectors for vector databases, and like I said, we are building specialized transformations for chunking as well as generating embeddings. So with that, I'll pass it on over to Sid, who will be talking about how Informatica is leveraging AI inside our platform to improve automation and productivity for the users. With that, I'll hand it over to Sid.
Thank you, Abhilash. And let me just quickly start and just to give you a broader picture. I think Abhilash talked about how Informatica is helping our customers realize the value of generative AI, and I'm going to talk about the other side of the coin, which is how Informatica is essentially using generative AI to give or to enhance our own experience when customers, users, and different personas interact with Informatica-specific data integration products. Right. So before I jump into that specifically, let me give you a quick introduction of this terminology that we call CLAIRE. Right. So to give you a little history around that, our journey with AI started when we launched CLAIRE in 2017, right? And since then AI has been, embedded in many of our solutions, where we leverage, many different forms of ML and AI and NLP, natural language processing algorithms, and tie them together with, the 49 petabytes of active metadata that we have, and 97 trillion mission critical cloud transactions that we do and give our and provide the customers an experience that is unparalleled, right? Informatica has the experience and the intelligence to help bring our customers, or to help bring our customers' data and AI to life, right? And when the customers ask us who our competitor are, we have been confidently able to say that there is no one single company who is able to compete with the breadth and the depth of the capabilities that Informatica provides. We do see, many of the incumbent organizations who have traditionally provided legacy storage and processing capabilities. We do see newer niche players delivering point data movement solutions, and we have hyperscalers, and we have Informatica, where we cut across. We work with each of them, we collaborate with each of them, and we do things better and more optimally. Now, jumping into the capabilities that we have currently, right? So Informatica has been providing assistance on the current DI solutions, allowing our customers to turn complex tasks into simple actions and focus on what truly matters, right? Which is, innovation and impact. Clear has been infused into all the three facets of data integration, which is design time, runtime, and operationalization. So during design time, Clear leverages different algorithms, metadata of the mappings, and the different flows. To provide many different forms of recommendations. And these recommendations can span across identifying the appropriate sources, transformations, targets, identifying the data standardization rules that might be applicable, the user-defined functions, expressions, and many, many more, the options that the customers or the developers can utilize in context with the specific work or data set that they are currently working on. At runtime, Clear can evaluate various parameters of mapping logic, including the available resources, the size of the data, the complexity of the mapping, so on and so forth, to provide recommendations to optimize cost, to optimize performance, to tune, scale, and execute jobs based on the best and the most optimal way that the customer may choose as well. And in the end, we also have options to options to see, or we provide options to kind of give customers observable platforms which are enriched with AI, which are enriched with the algorithms that can bring the most bring the most value out of customers' the jobs and customers' reports. And we have seen customers realize the value, and it is we have seen 65. We have seen customers gain upwards of 60% of 60% in cost savings. We have seen customers gain double digit in productivity, and the best part of it is we see customers saying it is easy and it is efficient for them to use the specific solutions that we have provided, and the important point to note here is we have been able to do all of this even before the invent of large language models and the generative AI and the trend that we are currently seeing in the market, right? And let me then take you the next generation of Informatica Copilot and the capabilities that we are trying to envision and that we are trying to build. So the vision of our next generation DI Copilot is to help customers across all facets of data integration, providing them the capability to interact with the systems using natural language as the starting point, right? Starting from identifying the right assets that the customers need to use as part of their enterprise. Moving on to the generation and augmentation, where the customer can essentially use natural language to create data assets, right? And not just mappings, but different types of tasks, which is fit for purpose of what they actually want to do, as well. Moving on to troubleshooting, which once the customer have a particular asset and they face issues, we envision the customers interacting with the Copilot to ask questions about what could go wrong and identify options to resolve them interactively as well. Execute those pipelines whenever they see fit, schedule, and do much more with it, and finally summarize and document different pipelines for to make it accessible to other users across the enterprise and other personas across the enterprise. This comes with the capability. Along with this comes the capability to interact with the system, to ask questions about Informatica, about their ecosystem, about their enterprise, and about the assets that are available as well. That would essentially lead to giving our customers the ability to interact or use natural language to kind of open up multiple multiple new options, like interacting with the Copilot to generate data pipeline, to enable different types of personas like data analysts or data scientists to essentially build and generate those pipelines as well, and overall gain a lot of productivity enhancements on top of what we already provide as of now. And with that, let me quickly share a customer success story that that we have. So this particular customer, Paycor, is just to give a quick background about them as well. It is an HR software platform, and they they came to Informatica with the whole challenge to modernize their data, the challenge to modernize their use cases and to realize the value faster with Informatica, right? And Informatica, along with partners, was able to help them reduce the total data transformation time by 90%, and the reporting cycles from and getting their reporting cycles from months to weeks. We were able to help them improve the productivity of data engineers and reduce the total cost by the time by multiple folds, and we made sure that the right data was available at the right time for AI consumption, right? And this shows the power of what Informatica can do for our customers with the help of AI, by leveraging AI specific solutions. And with that, let me quickly jump into the demo that we have prepared. And this is a quick sneak peek into what we are trying to show, or what we are trying to build as part of the next generation Copilot solution. Let me just quickly identify this as a specific. And in this scenario, I would take the persona of a data analyst, right? So I have come to Informatica to kind of build a solution which spans across me getting access to certain data and then making sure the data is ready for my downstream consumption. So what I can do is, at this point of time, I don't essentially need to be aware of what exactly Informatica can do for me. I don't have to be aware of the different solutions and the options that I have available. What I have is, I have a solution. I have a use case or a problem statement in mind, and I'm looking to Informatica to solve that for me in the best way possible. So what I'll do is, I'll open Copilot, and with this, I can see what are the different things that Copilot can do for me, right? So there are a few default prompts that are available that gives me a high-level idea. Oh, right, I can ask question, or I can just say, load data from point A to point B, and with that, I would want to type a particular prompt, and I can just say, because I am part of some analytics project, I would say I want to move close deals from Salesforce CRM to our data lake, and I would also want to capture the data going forward. I can just type that in natural language and let Informatica take the call on what needs to be done. So then Informatica, actually the Copilot, is now trying to pass this whole statement, the intent that I have in mind, and it is then proposing a solution, which essentially is creating a task for me from Salesforce CRM. And because I know the data lake, because Informatica knows that the data lake is in my organization is ADLS Gen 2, it says I will move data from Salesforce CRM to ADLS Gen 2, and I will to extract order data, I would need to move this data first to the target, right? And it creates a proposal for me. So if I have in this case, I everything looks good. I do have an option, if I as a data analyst do not like this particular proposal, I can essentially make changes to it and say, instead of doing Parquet, for example, load it in ORC format, right? Or do any of, and I can provide further instructions to the Copilot, right? But in this case, it looks okay. So I'll just say, yeah, go ahead and create the mass ingestion task for me. But to create the mass ingestion task, we do not, and in majority of the cases, the organization could have multiple connections for Salesforce CRM, which might be used across different departments or different teams. I can in this kind of scenario, I have an option to choose which specific CRM system do I want to interact with, right? So in this case, it would be ops, because that is what makes most sense to me. So I'll say use ops staging table, and with that, it would also say I want to load it to a specific target database, which would be choosing a ADLS Gen 2 staging table, right? And with that, the Informatica Copilot takes over, and it says, it essentially creates this particular asset for me. And with just 3 steps, I have um, a mass ingestion task in this case, which is ready to load data from Salesforce to ADLS Gen 2. I can go ahead and save and run, and it is going to complete that job for me. Now, once I have moved this data, I do think, I do have this data available in my data lake. But, is there something else that Informatica is now capable of, right? So to do that, so once that particular job is complete, it looks like Informatica is now saying, is there an option for me to transform the data, right? I can choose on that, and I can go ahead and say, what I want to do, which is essentially identifying the total spend for each account during the quarter. I also want to identify who's the account manager for those specific accounts that I had, for those orders that I want to report on. And I also want to know what is the average time between the lead generated and the deal closed, right? So that I can essentially create a report of the efficiency of the sales team in my organization. And with that, I can pass this. Informatica again passes that information and kind of gives me a summary that I can review before it generates that particular asset. Everything looks good to me. I'll just go ahead and say create this mapping, right? So once I do that, Informatica is essentially going to create this particular mapping with all the transformations that is required to fulfill this particular intent, and it is going to complete some of these core details, like the mapping name, the different location that I have to save, and the description of that particular asset. All of this is created by default by Informatica, right? So as you are able to see, the turnaround time from what I wanted to do to a particular asset which is created and fit to run is is reduced by multifold. Considering the alternate, which was for me to learn what are the different types of assets that can be created, what is the best way to essentially achieve a particular problem statement, and essentially going ahead and creating those particular assets as well, right? So with that, Doug, over to you.
Well, Sid, that was great. That was a great presentation. I can't help but hang on that last bit. It's like natural language is a game changer. I know we've been hanging here at Solutions Review on no code, low code, but watching natural language kick in is just unbelievable to me, and it's obvious. And clearly, you guys are pursuing the most innovative path here, and I think people really need to see how generative AI actually starts to integrate into kind of killer applications, if you will. But I'm curious, because you have Claire and you have Claire GPT. Can you just briefly talk about what the difference between the two of them are?
Claire and Claire GPT are essentially two sides of the same coin, Doug, right? So Claire has been the term that we are using as our go-to terminology for the broader AI offerings that Informatica provides, right? And we have been investing on Claire as a solution since 2017, as I mentioned. And Claire GPT is our new age a new age offering, new age service that the customers can use to interact with in natural language to do data management tasks. So Claire GPT is the next evolution of Claire as a solution, and I think that would be the right way for me to put that.
Well, and I know we have a way for folks to join the preview of Claire GPT. Can we bring that up?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for the reminder, Doug. So this is so we are actively looking for our customers to work. We are actively looking for customers to work with for our Claire next generation Claire Copilot, as the one that you saw. And if you guys, or if anyone is interested, they can go to this particular link and they can enroll for the program. There is a cycle where we are going through the different customers. We may not be able to reach out to every one of you, but for sure we will evaluate, and we will reach out to work closer to understand and to make sure that our vision is aligned with your use cases.
Well, again, it's an exciting time, and we always encourage everybody who watches an event like this to use this as a way to begin to engage on these sorts of technologies. I mean, what you're seeing here is going to rapidly be a have-to-have. We think about nice-to-haves and have-to-haves here at Solutions Review. How you deal with AI, generative AI, how you are leveraging your data is just going to be a have-to-have and working. I mean, Informatica, we're thrilled to have you in the spotlight because you're, right at the top right of the Magic Quadrant, upper right, in iPaaS and in data integration. Clearly, one of the leading thought leaders for this sort of evolution. And I want to actually come back to something that you talked about, Abhilash, in your presentation, and that was InforMaticaCorp, because I don't want to miss out on emphasizing that value of data quality, because that is where the whole thing begins to break down. Am I correct in that? That's my sense anyway.
That is correct. I mean, if you do not have quality data, garbage in is garbage out, and the AI models will either be more biased or they can hallucinate. So data quality is one of the most important thing for this generative AI projects or the models to perform more efficiently.
And InforMaticaCorp is the kind of state of the art for Informatica with regard to data cleansing.
So Informatica already has a data quality offering. It's been there for many, many years. Now, InforMaticaCorp is just an extension of the existing data quality functionality. As a matter of fact, the entire IDMC or cloud platform functionality is exposed as an SDK. And data quality is just one piece of it. We have exposed our connectors, we have exposed our data integration functionality, unstructured data parsing, and data quality as well. So that InforMaticaCorp is basically the SDK of our cloud platform, and it can be embedded into any UI. If data scientist is more comfortable using Jupyter notebooks or PyCharm, yes, we bring the platform to your UI. That's InforMaticaCorp.
Yeah, it's my sense that AI is kind of landing like a time bomb in enterprise technology, and you really need to understand clearly who you're going to work with and what you're going to do with it. And I want to get a sense for LLMs and vector databases in particular. Which ones are you supporting in this particular initiative?
So our goal is to support all of the popular vector databases that are out in the market, whether it's Pinecone or ChromaDB, Postgres, name it, right? So Snowflake has vector functionality, MongoDB, Elasticsearch. Our goal is to support. I mean, we already have connectors to Snowflake. It's just a matter of extending the current capability to support this new vector databases, and on top of that, adding, they're like one of the things I mentioned is there are more and more startups in this space, and we are seeing new vendors like Pinecone, ChromaDB, and we are building specialized connectors for these vector databases. And while we do that, we need some specialized functionality as well to power these vector databases. I kind of briefly touched on, unstructured data parsing, data chunking, and also calling some LLMs to generate embeddings. And you can store those embeddings in these vector databases. And in order to generate the embeddings, we are going to support all the popular LLMs that are out there, whether it's OpenAI, AWS, all the models that AWS Bedrock supports, Azure OpenAI, Hugging Face models. So we are going to support all of those to kind of power the RAG architectures.
So early on, again, in your presentation, Abhilash, you mentioned the kind of state of the market. And I think one of the data points was that 56% of internally developed AI initiatives are going to become cost prohibitive. Can you talk a little bit about the value of using Informatica versus the idea of kind of hand building and hand coding your own, which I think, I think a lot of companies right now know they have to do something, and they're faced with this fork in the road. Do they buy or do they build? Can you speak a little bit to the value equation for them there?
So some of the companies that started on the generative AI initiatives way early, what they did is they kind of started building models from the scratch, right? And once the models are built, they need to be trained, and they were using some expensive GPU-based infrastructure to train those models. And over a period of time, infrastructure was never cheap, right? And then the cost of building these models was like over expensive. So there's a transition happening at the moment, like where most of the models are pre-trained. Customers are taking these base models that are already built and training with their own data set, which is kind of what we do with Clear GPT as well. Some of the models are like we took some of the base models and trained it um, uh, uh, using some of the metadata that we have in our cloud platform, right? Um, initially the projects kind of failed as there were no clear use cases and the infrastructure was getting expensive, but then the tool set is becoming matured. And one of the number I mentioned at the beginning of the slide is about 60% of the generative AI projects are either in pilot or in production. So there is a transition happening, like from to kind of reduce this cost. Customers are kind of leveraging tool sets like Informatica to better clean the data sets, operationalizing the models using model serve, using InformaticaCorp for efficient data quality and things like that, right? So that is changing at the moment.
So this is something at the enterprise level that you have to get right. And I know what we're hearing is there's a great amount of hesitancy because you're dealing with data going into large language models. You're dealing with not having the highest quality data potentially and creating some downstream issues with regard to what neural networks will produce from that. I'm curious, how does Informatica approach making GenAI apps, for lack of a better term, enterprise grade?
We talked about some of the key capabilities required for generative AI projects in one of the slides. So any platform should provide capabilities around data governance, which means enterprises have data spread across many systems. From their companies still maintain mainframes, and data discovery is one of the key capabilities that's needed. We need API integration, we need broader connectivity, we need data privacy, security. So these are some of the key capabilities that are needed so that you can efficiently manage your data to power your ML models. And Informatica IDMC provides all these capabilities. We have robust services inside the IDMC platform, whether it's API management, or cloud data governance. We have over 300 to 400 purpose-built data connectors. We can connect to any system that's out there. Not only just connect to it, but we can parse any data format as well, whether it's semi-structured, unstructured data as well, and then convert into a more structured format to power these generative applications. So the key capabilities are already there, and we have clear capabilities that Sid kind of touched upon to improve the developer productivity, as well as a broader connectivity that can power this your generative AI initiatives.
Yeah, Sid, I always want for us to develop or deliver advice, because in the end, people need guidance here, and it's one piece of advice to say, well, you got to go talk to Informatica, but taking a step back, just in general, at this moment in time, you're on the client side, let's say. How are you thinking about this moment for a large organization that has clearly the need to stay competitive? They see and expect that their competitors will be implementing very robust AI initiatives. I mean, what would you suggest they be thinking about right now as they're preparing for this revolution?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Doug. And I think, it is the top of the mind for every IT organization, every data engineer, every CDO, and even the leadership to identify what is, or how do they realize, or how do they get the value out of the generative AI and the revolution that is going through. And I think it is of utmost importance that they understand, or they start not from what they are going to, or which tool or which solution that they are going to use for generative AI, rather how or what is the core problem that they are going to solve, and what is the metrics or what is the KPI that is going to get impacted because of that, right? So for example, when we start, or when we are looking into the clear copilot vision, our major focus is how to bring simplicity and productivity for our customers, and that is our, that is in simple the core goal of everything that we are trying to achieve. And all the decisions, all the products, all the solutions that we are trying to build is in line with that. And I think that's the approach which I think customers or customers or the leaders can essentially start looking from. The perspective of what of that is going to make all the difference here.
Yeah, Abhilash, I'm curious about who in the organization. So you have obviously world-class clients, huge amounts of very large clients, and I'm sure they've been curious and probably requesting just this sort of solution to begin to consider. Where in the organization are you seeing that initiative be owned? Is it lines of business that are coming to you? Is it further up? I mean, I got to believe the board is asking the C-suite, you need a solution here. We need a strategy. What are you seeing kind of at the client level?
So where we are seeing is like, and again, I kind of touched on a metric at the beginning of my presentation, is most of the AI or generative AI projects have become like the top three priority for the CDOs at the moment. So these initiatives are rolling from the top, and that's why there's like a lot of funding is also going into this. Technology is evolving, so these are no more departmental use cases. These are driven more at the enterprise level, at the C level, and there is a clear, like Sid mentioned, there is a business case defined for these projects, and they want a better outcome. So they, like CDOs, are expecting ROI on this project. So clear deliverables and business outcomes are expected from this, from the top.
Well, and I got to believe that flows all the way down to the business user when you start to incorporate the natural language. Is that really where we're going to end up, where it's literally, I mean, Sid, is that where we're going to end up, where you're just talking to the system, literally voice activated data integration, data management, data ingestion?
That's an interesting point of view, right? So it is certainly one of the endings, of course, right? And we have thought leaders like Jensen Huang from NVIDIA and Andre Karpathy say natural language is the next. The natural language is the next programming language, right? So that's the next generation of the programming language, and everything that we do at some point, that is the most natural thing that anyone can that anyone can come with, or anyone can use to interact with complex systems like computers and data, right? But that is where that is where it essentially creates a new type of skill, specifically basically which is what do I say, or how clear do I want to be, or how best, or what do I say to this particular system so that it answers what I want. It is an assistant in the end, right? It is powerful, it knows a lot, but you have to know how to interact with that particular system to gain the most out of. So certainly that's one of the directions that can certainly happen, and it is, we are all in lookout to see how all of this turns out. And I for one feel very lucky to be part of this journey of all our customers.
You and me both. I got to tell you, it's a great time to be at Solutions Review right now, because we're seeing some amazing technology come through our spotlights, and this has been great. I can't tell you how exciting that is. I just don't see how end users, in the end, this idea of democratizing data down to the end user, I just can't see how end users don't demand this sort of thing, and it's going to create all kinds of interesting governance issues. It's going to create all kinds of interesting analytics issues, but it's just going to be wild, man. And you guys are going to be right in the middle of it. And honestly, there's going to be a lot of noise. Again, back to our audience, there's going to be a lot of noise. I think Abhilash mentioned 17,000 companies are being funded in one way, shape, or form to go out and create GenAI solutions. There's going to be a lot of noise about things, but one thing we feel highly confident about is when we have a company like Informatica in the spotlight, that you can rest assured that this is rock solid, state of the art, highly thought through, completely developed technology, and we would encourage you to reach out and connect with them and have this conversation. Abhilash, Sid, this has been great. Thanks very much for the time today. Very much appreciated, and best of luck with the rollout for everything that's coming. I think Claire is going to be an exciting innovation.
Yep, we are ready for anything, Doug. Right? Anything related to AI. So.
That's great. Thanks for having us, Doug.
You bet. Well, there you have it. Another solution in our spotlight. We want to thank Siddharth and Abhilash for that presentation, and Informatica for being a part of this spotlight. And we appreciate your attendance as well. Till next time, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review. Thanks for watching.
If your business would like to be featured in a future event, contact us today.